If I had started taking a paycheck earlier, I would have raised my prices earlier. And that was the mistake I made, right?
No matter how big or small, make the business earn it. Make sure you get your pricing right.
Yeah.
The business will earn that money. You just won't waste it on something else.
And you know what it was like back in my day, you know?
Back in my day. Back in 2022.
And if you guys are listening to this, stay off my lawn, you know? Yeah. And it was
We're all in business to serve people, but to make money while we do it. And yet somehow, even when you're making, your business is literally generating millions of dollars, somehow there's still not enough at the end of the month half the time, right?
Yeah. Oh, were you already diving into it?
Man.
Yeah. I think
make millions of dollars and there's no money.
The most gray hairs I've ever gotten in my entire life have come from cash flow issues.
Not women?
No, I thought that would be more of them.
Right.
But I've gotten more stressing about payroll than any divorce or anything else that I've ever been through. It's never.
And you work in a very stable industry. You've got a good business model. Your pricing is right because you've worked really hard on getting it right. And somehow you still
there's still months where you're not making it.
Yeah. And it's
or it feels like you're not. You know?
Yeah. Sometimes it's a feeling, and sometimes there's actually, you've borrowed money, and a lot of businesses have. I was just looking at some stats, and it said over a third of small business owners sought extra money just to keep their cash flow positive.
Yeah.
So they're not borrowing. A third of the people who are borrowing aren't borrowing for expansion or a third of the businesses out there are borrowing just to keep things going, not expansion or new vehicles or new equipment or anything like that. It's just, hey, we want to keep these guys paid this month and keep the lights on for another month so we can come back next month and kick ass.
Yeah. And you have to do it wisely, but at the same time, it's like, well, I either give up right now or I borrow money. And then you go, what am I supposed to do in this situation? Because who likes borrowing money? Nobody, right? It kills your profitability. We had to do that last year because it was slow. We weren't prepared for it. We weren't ready for what was going to happen. And that's a big part too. We'll get to the point, right, of knowing your numbers throughout the years. So this year, when we got up to January, right, we looked at it and went, okay, we're preparing for this slow season. So we were able to put money aside, and we had to borrow a little bit, but not as much as we had before, right?
Yeah, which is really saying something because payroll in that last year or so has almost doubled. Yeah, just adding more guys, help more customers and stuff like that. So the fact that you're able to run a much larger operation and borrow less means we're trending in the right direction, right?
Well, I think something changed too from last year to this year. I started earning a paycheck, and that decreased my stress. Like there was a whole season, right? The first 2 years, I didn't draw any money out. I was like, I don't have the money for it. And we had to create, like, I'm going to intentionally start taking this small of an amount. And that's where I started. And it started to help because obviously there's a lot of things that are a write-off in my personal life. And so I don't need the same amount that I was receiving back when I was working a W-2 job. Right now it's a little bit different. But I'm able to put money aside so that when the panic hits and we are struggling to make payroll, that was it was a game changer in the mental status of me not just stressed out. Right? Yeah. If we got to, okay, payroll's barely going to make it now, I can't even afford to eat. Right, and those have happened. I've definitely lived off of my fair share of rice and beans.
Mike will tell us all the stories of sleeping in the hammock in the shop and eating rice.
Yeah. It was a great. It was a great adventure, and that little griddle right there was my best friend. And sometimes I could afford.
You've heard of George Foreman? This is Mike Pomeroy.
Yeah, last. It'd be cool to endorse my own grill.
Yeah. This is what I used to use when I was sleeping in the shop.
But at that time, right, I had a bag of rice and I had 5 dozen eggs, and that's what I cooked, and that's all I could eat, and it was hopeful to make it through, throughout those several months, right? And then
he also walked uphill through the snow with no shoes to school in the morning. It was uphill both ways.
It was, yeah. I mean, kids wouldn't understand, what it was like
kids
back
these
in my
days,
day,
Back in my day. Back in 2022.
And if you guys are listening to this, stay off my lawn, And it was, but yeah, it's seriously, like cash flow is the amount of stress because you have so many people relying on you and you feel like a failure. And learning the emotional side of those things just to let them go. It doesn't, because if you're just focused on that, then you're not thinking about how to make more money, right?
So if you were talking to, like a business owner who's a couple years behind you or something like that, just getting started, would you recommend them starting to take a paycheck earlier than you did? Because I feel like
probably is a good idea because if I had started taking a paycheck earlier, I would have raised my prices earlier. And that was the mistake I made, right? Because we didn't raise our prices for a year and a half. If I had started pulling a paycheck and practiced that, which the accountants were telling me about, and I was like, yeah. I mean, you guys don't know. I just can't afford it right now. Well, the fact is, if I'd have said, I can't afford it right now. What does that mean?
How can I afford this?
How can I afford this paycheck? Because I know what's supposed to happen. And I had a picture in my mind of, well, it's going to happen after 4 or 5 years. So unpractical. And so I should have added myself. Maybe, as we started as an LLC, it's really stupid to add yourself to a payroll because that's expensive, right? So it's a run through entity, right? So you don't need to pull a paycheck from that, but you can still automatically take out money and treat it like a paycheck.
Right. And so that's where you would move to the S Corp and then I have to. You have to take a paycheck.
I have to take a paycheck. And that was really great. We'd already started creating the habit before that of what this was going to look like. But definitely, even in the form of an LLC, you should take the paycheck.
Yeah. Well, I think, I can't remember the name of the principle, but where work will expand to fit the time, things like that. And our budgets are the same way. If you basically say, hey, there's this $5,000 a month expense that we have to budget for, the business figures out a way to make it happen. That's just how it works. But if you say, I don't need a paycheck, somehow all that money is going to get spent either way.
Right.
So if you just say, okay, I'm going to take a paycheck, no matter how big or small, make the business earn it, make sure you get your pricing right.
Yeah.
The business will earn that money. You just won't waste it on something else.
Even at that time, I would have probably gone up. If I could have seen the numbers and had the time to sit through and go through those things, I would have raised my rates, when we were doing hourly, probably $20 an hour and been like, I have to do this. This is a non-negotiable in business. Yeah. And a lot of these steps that we're taking now is like, well, it's non-negotiable. I have to do these things in business, right?
Yeah.
If I want to do benefits, well, it has to be passed off to the customer. I can't just eat it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And some of us have to go through those things. We have to, no matter who, you said your accountants were telling you and stuff like that. We just have to learn it for ourselves. But if you're out there and you're like, should I do this? Should I not? Just learn from Mike's mistakes and don't repeat the same ones.
Because there was many of them. Yeah.
And we'll share them all.
Yeah.
None of mine, but Mike's. Mine aren't, never mind.
As exciting yet?
Yeah. Haven't had to sleep in a hammock yet. Although, keep saying stupid things to Ashley. You never know, I might be borrowing your hammock. No.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
No.
Go sleep in the doghouse. Yeah.
A lot of married people, they joke about sleeping on the couch in the guest room or in the doghouse or whatever. I've never, just the way our marriage works, we've never, physically separated like that. And that's one thing I feel really blessed about. Haven't had to actually sleep on the couch, not physically. Sometimes metaphorically, I was on the couch.
Well, yeah, that bed can feel awful cold sometimes at night, can't it?
Yeah.
No, and there's something to be said in that. I had a conversation like this just a couple weeks ago that was, if you want to, we're going to get through this, right? So you need to have the commitment there. If you pull away completely physically and emotionally, but let's just say it starts off, right? You get an argument, which is emotional, then you pull away physically. It's a normal human reaction, but the worst thing that you can do in a marriage, especially depending on your spouse's love language, is to pull away in that, physically,
Yeah.
Because then you can correct me if you're not like this, but the way I am is if you pull away from me physically, then I certainly don't want to try and connect with you emotionally.
Yeah, and I think women are exactly the opposite. If you pull away from them emotionally, they don't want to connect with you physically.
Yeah,
right.
And so both of you have to be mature in that situation and go, okay, I know what the other one needs, but it's just you can't just treat me like any other dirtbag off the street, right? You gotta,
and it starts with like you said, the commitment at the beginning. Like, okay, yeah, we're mad at each other. This is stupid. We're fighting, but we're committed, so we know that we're not going anywhere. Just suck it up, put your big boy panties on, and
make the choice to love, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the choice. Very good. And next week on the couch here with Ryan and Mike, we'll discuss.
Yeah, we're bringing in special guest Dr. Phil. Yeah, right. How he got off of cash flow onto that.
How's that working out for you?
I guess that brings to light, money affects everything, right? So
yeah,
if you're pursuing these areas of your life, and whether it's business or growing in the company that you're in, having money doesn't cure everything, but it is darn helpful. So the stresses that you have at home, how many of them can be cured by not having to fight about the little extra that was spent, right? Because how many marriages fail based off of money issues, right? So the business is the same way, right? You've got to be intentional of where you're going to put it. And Dave Ramsey talks about that of intentionality of where that money's going to go, and even the money that's extra, right? Say you got $200 extra every paycheck. You have to be intentional about what you're going to do with it. That needs to have a place, not just it's just extra. Because then you look at it like extra. Well, I got $200 extra this week I can spend. That $200 needs to go $100 for having fun and $100 into something else. And if you've been intentional about savings, then it doesn't matter what those things are.
Yeah, right? and the hard part on that is especially younger people or people who just haven't been educated on money. They think, well, what's $100 going to do? I'm just going to go blow it. But when you stack, $100 up every month for years, now all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm going to take that money that I've been just, putting away $100 at a time, and I'm going to go invest in something that's going to return cash or a house for our family or something like that. And I feel like that's for me, the hard part to communicate and really enforce is, hey, doesn't matter how much it is, just have a place for it and have it working for you.
Yeah.
And
use it,
really true.
It's sitting there for emergencies, right? We get into when there's payroll issues inside the business, you focus on it so much. It takes all of your mental energy and focus that you don't think about anything else, and growth just stops.
Right.
Whether it's, doing stuff in the office, we've been learning that even last winter, we didn't handle things right, not financially, but the guys just not having anything to do wasn't really great for them mentally because it was so slow. And
then you get John over there bouncing a ball up against the desk. And next thing you know, John's pinned against the wall by his throat. Not that ever happened.
No. And that
Ashley's rough when he bugs her.
It's one of those things now that we look back and we go, okay, we don't want those things to happen again, and we don't want ourselves to just become stagnant because it's in a different season. So you take it, obviously, once you get used to it, you take it as a role. It doesn't change the stress level. It just changes how productive you're going to be in those moments.
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, yeah, get past this season. Now we're ready for explosive growth again. And it's just up and down with this industry, right? You're trying to find ways to create constant revenue throughout the years and constant busy, but you don't want to be too busy to where you're not growing either, because that's not growth. That's just busy.
Yeah. And we've hashed out how being busy and getting nothing done is not only a recipe for failure in business, but probably end up in the loony bin or whatever, just spinning your wheels.
Yeah, take the intentionality of your finances right now, put a percentage away for dreams and whatever you're planning on doing. It's so hard to save. If it was easy, everyone would do it, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, it's not a natural habit of ours. And so you save what you can, and then you go, I'm not touching this. If it's with a spouse or even it's in business, you have to save the same way. Mm-hmm. Just the number, all it is business, the numbers get bigger. Right.
Yeah.
I look at it and go like, well, it's $5,000. It's not really going to help out that much. And whereas on the personal side of things, like that'd be really nice, have that in the bank, but in the business, that's nothing,
It does get eaten up real fast, huh?
Yeah.
Ryan's like, hey, I got a new idea on how to advertise. Yeah. And John's like, I just wrecked the van. What's could you write me a $5,000 check? Not that ever happened. So yeah, input and it goes back to like what we were talking about a couple weeks ago. You get up every morning at 5:00, get in the cold plunge, do your workout, and that's your discipline. Okay, well, money rolls into the business. Put a certain percentage of it away. You won't really miss it.
There's so much that's automated now, right? Mm-hmm. It wasn't like that back in the days when we were kids, right? They didn't even
stealing jobs from all of us Americans.
Yeah. So now everything's like I do this now, and I use the CRMs that are out there that the banks use, right? So I have 2 different bank accounts and a couple other accounts, right? And paycheck comes in and it's already split before I see it, right? And it goes 4 different ways, and super beneficial, for someone.
He's got.
I don't have bad spending
Caymans,
habits.
Switzerland, and
these offshore accounts, right? But anymore, there's no excuse because you can't see it, right? Mm-hmm. And there's 2 accounts that I don't have debit cards to. And no access in that way, right? Because they're intentional for what I'm doing with them. But with that automated stuff now, it's just easy. Imagine, it used to be you had to, checking account and then you got your savings right here and it's right there. It's like, well, it's the same flipping number, right? And you're like, okay, so now I've got $4,000, even though I don't actually. And it's always tempting you because you're always looking at it.
Oh yeah, you're like, what can I do with that?
Yeah. And so they have systems where you can create the self-control and then you just got to leave it be.
Yeah.
It's such a pain in the butt to pull money out of these 2 accounts that I have money going into that by the time I think that I look at it, I see my numbers to make sure it's growing the way that I want it to. But by the time I think about, I could buy this, it's 4 steps for me to transfer it from that bank account. And it's not even worth the effort.
Well, if nothing else, it just gives you the time to think, do I really want to do this? And especially with you're like, I got a good idea. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And Ryan wakes up to text messages in the morning like, man, check out this. I built a whole business overnight, AI is an amazing thing.
Yeah. I've never used AI for that yet.
Well, I was talking about the pipe and torch coffee commercials and things like that.
That was AI.
Yeah, and that was cool. A little scary because you can, make people say whatever you want them to say. But anyway, point being, if you're new in business, give yourself a paycheck, automate it, and put money away because even if you're making a ton of money right now, and there's going to be a time when you either need more or the customers dry up for some reason.
And price yourself out for future growth.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And put a budget in there for that because if you're not going to stay where you are, then that's going to be a cost that's expensive, right? What we spend on marketing every month. I finally had to build a calculator, right? That was, or work through a calculator that was already built. Sorry, I didn't build it, but I had to work through that calculator.
You didn't build that.
Yeah. I had to work through that to see what my projected expenses would be at this point. And obviously we have to adjust that as we go, but we were prepared for, we don't have to raise our prices, considerably for years to come because of how we're price structured now. And that's going to be more beneficial in the long run. At least you get you on the right path. You might have to tweak some things and adjust some stuff here and there, but think about that. And nobody taught me. I didn't know.
Right. As you're talking the whole time, a disclaimer's running through my mind. Ryan and Mike are not financial advisors. Please see your accountant or tax professional for investment advice. Member at FINRA and SIPC.
Like FDIC?
Yeah.
Is that what you were going for? Yeah.
FINRA and I think it's SIPC, maybe FDIC. A little PCP. Mimi.
PCP. Is that where you're going with?
Oh no, what is it? I've lost track of my acronyms.
Yeah. There's too many of them right there. The disclaimer was a great idea to throw in the podcast, Ryan, but you kind of botched it.
That's my life story. No.
Cue awkward silence. That was kind of weird. A good thing they know how to cut that out on camera. But So going back to the points that you were making, though, you mean be intentional where your money's going, and then know the ups and downs are going to come, but just prepare for them, right? It's always, everyone just says put some money in savings, but I mean, really, the reality is you want 90 days worth of payroll just kind of liquid so you can use it if need be until you get to a different point, right? And then don't overspend, don't get too excited. Definitely hold yourself back, because I'm been guilty of that the most. Right?
Yeah, those stats I was referencing earlier, it said it was 25 or 27% of businesses is all that has even a week's worth of payroll saved up.
Yeah.
So 75% of businesses don't even have 1 week in the bank. So if like checks don't, if a check bounces or people don't pay, you don't have the great week that you thought you were going to have. All of a sudden, oh, crap, where am I going to get payroll?
So how important is that too? If you're not a bill on site customer or client,
right.
Client base, who is handling those phone calls? Because people move on with their lives and they forget and they don't think about you anymore. You may have done them a great service, but their life goes on.
Yeah. They wrote you a great Google review.
Somebody needs to be making those phone calls, going back to having an administrator or somebody in your office. If you're out there working and making money in the field, whether it's in this trade or something else, you're doing the job that's bringing in revenue. You don't have time to be following up on people, expecting them to remember to pay their bill. But you always want to get money on site, right? You don't want to have everything that's going out coming in every 30 days. Doesn't work because they don't pay. And then you're relying on checks to come in, and then your accounts receivable goes skyrocketing. And it is stressful.
Yeah.
Because you're sitting there going like, I thought you should pay, or you can't get hold of anyone, or they're ghosting you, because we all get so many spam calls throughout the day that everyone just ignores their phone.
Yep. I always take a deposit before I start with a new customer. And I've had people be like, well, you haven't done any work yet. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm really, the advertising is really easy to forget about, especially if it's working. It's really easy to just forget about, like, the work you did last month or whatever. And so I tell them, yeah, but I've been stiffed enough times where I'm not going to work for free and I'm not going to chase you for money. So you're going to pay me up front. And then if you pay me up front next month, then I'll keep working for you. If you stop paying me, I'm just not going to, keep doing what I'm doing. and some of them are like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And others are like, wow, that's not how I work. Going back to the business owners who think they know how to run your business, right?
Yeah, that's not how they work. And it's great in their industry, but if they were to look back, I'm sure they'd been ripped off many times. And we've had so many people that have approved the work, and we've showed up at their house, and then they've backed out of it. So I've just wasted an hour of my time that I can't get paid for.
Well, hopefully
at this point,
just that, like you've only wasted the hour. The people who the only thing worse than those guys is the ones who let you install it all. And then they're like, oh, yeah, this wasn't what I expected. You did it too fast.
Yeah, I did it too fast. That's such a great one. Yeah.
Yep. Well, more fun stories with Mike. I think we should do a whole episode of just fun stories with Mike, because you get to meet a lot of interesting people, or at least you used to. Now that you're behind the desk, you don't.
Oh, I still meet interesting ones or talk to them on the phone. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Phone conversations. Those are the best. No. All right, Mikey, thank you for your time. Thank you for Pipe and Torched Coffee for sponsoring. And off to the races.
Go make some money.
Go forth and be profitable.